Hello, everyone. This is Pauline Asplar trying to get Craig and Derek ready to do a show here tonight. Got a little difficulty going on, of course, with all the new computer stuff. Derek did an update, and now for some reason, he and Craig can't seem to talk to each other. But I put my little heading on there. Finding the good stuff. The best things in life are. Well, I don't have chat here with me. I'm sure going to try to jump over there to it. But I'm going to start with the best things in life that I have found. To me, I guess the shackle chain that I found out at my grandparents' place. That was pretty interesting. Didn't really know what to think of it at first. I know the history of it. And it was kind of a reality check. So when I started doing research in the family Bibles, it told me a little more information about them. But other than that one, Derek did find me a gold ring on the beach one time. It was a really nice surprise. But tell us some of your things that you have found the best things in life. I'm going to give Derek and Craig here a few more minutes. They're over on the big system, and I'm trying to do this one on my phone. So, any of you guys want to jump on chat, let us know your best finds. Trying to do a little typing here. See what we can get going on. Now I know Craig has found some awesome stuff. He and these cut reals. But, and another really nice thing that Craig has found is the breastplates. First time he told me he found a breastplate, I was thinking, well, a breastplate like for a Spanish soldier. More like the metal suit, the big piece of metal that would go over your shoulder, cover your chest all the way down. Then you would hold your shield in front of it. I'm thinking these massive things. Come to find out, well, it's a whole lot smaller than that. But definitely Craig and Derek have both taught me a lot about different finds. When Derek was in Bulgaria, he did find an iron or metal nail, like was used during the time of crucifixions. And it did date back to that time and era, which was just phenomenal. And from what I understand, the big fields over there where they went hunting, you can find all kind of stuff, but it's really rocky. The terrain is nasty, so it's not like arrowhead hunting where you just walk through and see stuff and pick it up. You actually have to metal detect for it. Another really good find that I do remember is Darren Groves found a copper of some sort. So different things like that. I guess it would depend on a personal interest as to what you're finding. I too like just the junk. I'm sure a lot of y'all have heard Derek say that he has to keep his trash for me. I found it's a good therapy thing. I make metal art out of it and little things like that. We do have a neighbor that is into forging, or he's learning to forge, and he's learning to melt metals, aluminum, things like that, and turn them into ingots. So he too, now I have competition for my scrap that my husband finds and getting any of this stuff kind of done. I'm
on chat. So.
Derek is on chat, guys. So if you want to jump on there and talk with him, Derek, can you hear me over there?
I'm just listening to you talk.
Okay, he's listening to me talk here at the house. I can't really tell if anybody is on chat. We did start up a little late, and I know there's another show on tonight, so a lot of you guys may be over there, which is fine because Derek and I go back and we listen to the show after our shows, or we'll do a playback during the week, as we do with a lot of the shows, because there's just not enough time in the evening. Once the shows go, we're busy with life, so a lot of times we can't just stop what we're doing and listen. And that's one of the good things about Spreaker, is we can always go back and get playback. But it looks like Derek's about ready. His little system over there isn't liking him too well. I do appreciate y'all letting me start off talking with y'all, but I'm going to give the phone over to Derek and let him continue on with the best finds in life.
Hey guys, sorry about all the hoopla. It just kind of happened. Upgraded my Mac system, and of course I had to put the new Skype on there and everything, and it won't even let me hear Craig at all. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of tech work to get that thing figured out good. Oh, hang on a second. There. But at any rate, yeah. So we'll get this thing figured out. I can't remember where or why it's doing this. It shouldn't be. But at any rate, we're getting into these finds and stuff, and some of my best finds that I can remember is anything with a date on it, anything that you could actually date back real far, some of the company names and stuff like that. Of course, you've heard me tell you the story of the Our Colored Heroes medal and everything. So that's one of the finds I made. There was only 75 known to exist, and I have 1 of 5 photos of that item. That's one of my better finds there. Of course, you find a lot of jewelry and regular clad and everything, and that's fun to find too. I don't consider older coins clad. Anything prior to 1960, as far as going to be silver and stuff like that. But you start finding this really old stuff, this Confederate stuff, or the Union stuff, and these Civil War sites, or even clear back into you're dealing with like the Revolutionary War era, colonial era stuff. Some of these finds are really kind of cool, and you just you come across them and really don't.
Craig.
Okay, Craig, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, I don't know how this is going to work, guys. We're trying to play shoestring and shoestring and can, trying to do this, but Craig's right here.
I was telling Pauline we've done this before, I think, once or twice, haven't we?
Yeah. So, but yeah, just trying to, figure it all out and making sure I'm holding this thing where I need to be so that you can be heard, Craig. You can talk a little bit, Craig. I don't know what you found or anything. We didn't have a chance to find out, but I downloaded Mojave operating system. And I tell you, Craig, I've beaten my head against the wall now because I never thought this would be a problem. So, but go ahead, Craig. Have you been out detecting or what have you?
Yeah, I've been going back to that spot right down the street from me, and it's funny. I've been getting calls and texts and stuff, and I've let a couple people, I guess about 5 people hunt, and I got one call from a girl in Michigan. She was going to visit her boyfriend in Maryland. Thought I lived in Maryland. I don't live that far from Maryland, maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know any spots over there. And she said her boyfriend did metal detect, and she was looking, so I said, well, you can come up my yard in this spot I got, but, that's all I got right now, and it's pretty hit hard, so she ended up saying that she couldn't come, so, but I got, one guy, I think on Instagram, I guess he did a drive-by and saw us out there hunting, and I said, why didn't you stop and say hello? And he goes, next time I will. But, it was a weird spot, it was one of those spots that just kind of calls to you when you see it, it just looks old. It had old flowers, beds on it, and I figured it was a half an acre. I figured there was probably a house site, in next to the house, a little bit back, a little bit further. And the owner told me 2 days ago that there was a house here at one time.
Yeah.
And I was telling him to say how old. He said no, and I said, well, the stuff I'm finding is like, late 1700s, through early 1800s, and then I also found one eagle butt finally on the site, but he said no, there wasn't any records on how old the house was or anything. I said, well, they say this house is 1910,
Right.
but anyway, it was like one of those spots where I was really disappointed. I was hunting the heck out of it. I had Deus, I had the Mine Lab, I had the Bliss Tool, and I was finding coins, but not very many, and not very many wheat pennies. No Indian, never found an Indian head. And so it kept going up and down the sidewalk, that's where most of the coins were, along the sidewalk area. And then back in the very back was a bottle dump, a lot of trash. And I did pick a couple things out of there. I got this real cool, hinge that was, I guess it was from one of those ice chests. And Dave Wise sent me a picture of what it looked like, and it was like pretty big. It wasn't as big as a refrigerator, but it was good size, and it was all wood, beautiful, looked like mahogany or something.
Wow.
One picture I saw, so they date to about 1900, and there was some bottles back there, and I found they had this weird brass top on these 2 different bottles. It was the exact same top, but one screwed on, and the other one kind of just pushed on. And one was perfume, and the other one was lipstick. So I have to research that. I got a couple pictures of it on Instagram.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I got
some of the guys are asking, Nelson was asking, something, it doesn't sound like an upgrade. It isn't, Nelson. I downloaded a new operating system, a Mojave on my Mac, and then I had to do a Skype, which Skype worked last time. I'm just not getting any, when Craig calls, I'm not getting any any voice. He can't hear me. I can't hear him. So I don't know whether it's a Skype problem. My Spreaker program seems to be working right. So it's just one of those things where you always become accustomed to everything working fine. And I started to show up 10 minutes before like we always do. And, well, dealing with this. So that's why we're doing it. Essentially 2 cans and a string. 2 cell phones sitting on top of a cell phone here, and then Craig's talking on a cell phone. So we're seeing what we can do. We have no idea what the quality is or not, but it's just tonight's going to be like an easy go and just kind of talk about whatever night. The only problem is we can't get other callers. That's which sucks.
Yeah.
It happens once in a blue moon, Greg. We have an issue, but I think all of us do that do podcast radio. Some things just don't match up right.
Still not as bad as Mixler and that other crap we had.
Oh God, Mixler that thing gave me ulcers. I swear it did. And was it 1,000 Mics was getting to be about the same way with all their failures. This is the first time we've actually, and I think it's on my side. This new Mojave. I should have spent more time with it today, but I got so busy and cutting trees down. Then I cut a tree and. Well, it was a leaner on the power lines, Craig. I talk about that a lot of times, how you up north, you cut a tree, you can kind of judge which way it's going to fall, and just by the way the branches are hanging or whatever. And, well, this one was leaning towards my house, so I had it block and tackled, and, with the pickup truck and a big pulley and all that. I'm pretty good at that thing. And, well, Craig, I made that final cut, and that tree, and this is why water oaks are so unpredictable. Each branch holds water or can hold water, and I've seen a gallon of water come out of just an upper branch, and I've seen a river come out when you cut the tree at the base like you're really going to fall it. Well, with that water in there, it took the tree, instead of falling where I notched it, it went opposite and went twisted in midair, almost got me and came down flat on the ground and leaned up against 3 high-tension wires. So, yeah, I had a wonderful day trying to just get some trees cut down. But they came out and got it fixed. These are the same trees I've complained about for 3 years, Craig, about them dying out and getting rotten. And, I'm trying to get them out of here. And, boy, I tell you, they don't make it very easy on me. I keep on telling them I don't have a boom truck tall enough to reach a lot of that stuff. We're talking like 70, 80 foot up in the air. And when that tree goes, it's going to wipe out every bit of power on our whole neighborhood. So they get the power up and running, but our phones, like our cable TV works and everything, but our actual phones aren't working either, landlines. So it definitely hit something out there. I'm sure they'll have to come out and fix it. So, that's the story of my day. One headache after another. But I did fall 4 trees, Craig, so I got some done before I screwed up.
Oh, yeah. I was talking to my friend Mike. He went down to Battlefield Detectors and got a Mine Lab Equinox 600.
Yeah.
So,
sorry about the shotgun blast. That's a notification on Pauline's phone. I want to see how that sounded over the intercom or over the radio. No, we don't have a pump 12 gauge going off, though my wife wants to use that on me every once in a while. Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
He was asking me about something, and so I said, "Do you have a button on the right side of the machine, on the side of it?" At the bottom, there's like 2 buttons, and he said, no, there's only one. So the 600 doesn't have this thing called user profile where you can put in different programs and save them.
Right.
So
I've never been a big fan of that. I mean, it's a nice programming to have, the geolocate and all that. But guys,
no, this is programming the actual programs, on that run the machine, not on geolocating. It doesn't have any of that on it.
Oh, okay. I always had a problem having anything where I take a photo and people can geolocate where it was, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've heard of people being able to do that. I just don't. A lot of my sites even messed with or seen. A lot of the landowners that I talk to prefer that I don't give identifying, addresses or anything else because they don't want to deal with any, problems. I got a few claim jumpers or whatever you want to call it, or night hawkers that are around and about, and I'll catch them eventually. Stay off my sites. No, I'm joking. No, I usually don't worry about it too much. I've had a couple. I just don't want to get run off from a permission because somebody else went in there and screwed up. You know what I mean, Craig? You can ruin it for everybody. They're nice enough to let us get on there, but just sometimes you run into people that just cause more problems than they're worth.
Yeah, it's a pretty competitive hobby. That was like once people started seeing what I was finding on that site, and I was telling a lot of these people, I said, this site was really disappointing until I found that, Real. The best thing I found was a Mercury dime, and, a few wheat pennies. But, and they scraped around the stump, and the guy, it was like a poplar tree, it was huge. And they cut it off, but then they couldn't get the stump out of the ground, and so he spent like 5 days just digging around it. He kept digging deeper around it. And I was sorry the last day, by the time I got there, he got the stump out and then filled the hole back in.
Yeah.
So I didn't. I used the bliss tool around that tree that day, but one day with the mine lab, I was popping stuff. First half an hour, I was, I got a pewter spoon, I think 3 buttons, and that King George II coin. I could see the head on the coin now. A friend of mine was looking at it, and I got bad eyes because I'm so old.
Yeah. You and me, brother.
But he said, "Oh, there's a king-looking guy looking left." I said, "Oh, good." That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But it's that coin read low. It read like 19 or 20, I believe, on the Equinox, and that's like probably like a zinc penny. So same thing with the Real. I got that thing read 19 or 20, but it doesn't have. It's very thin, very very thin, and it's I think it's 83.6% silver on those coins.
Hmm.
And Seven told me that most of them were 1721. That there was a whole bunch of those coins that were sent to the colonies to use, and the government grabbed most of them up and melted them down. But some of the ones that survived are the ones, I've found quite a few that had a 21 or a 1 on them.
Right.
But I've got one almost mint-shaped coin that's 1723, and it's just a stunning coin. It's probably the best-looking coin I've ever dug.
That's pretty old, though.
Yeah. But,
I keep on waiting to find some, but I haven't been.
Yeah. But, I discovered something. I was cleaning it, and there was like this little tiny, thin dirt streak. And I kept rubbing it, and it wouldn't come. So I was kind of scratching with my thumbnail a little bit on it, and I found out it was somebody had cut that coin, started cutting that coin, and stopped, and then moved over just a slight bit and cut it in half. But there's an actual cut next to the cut, and it's kind of at the bottom. It's kind of deep, but as it goes up higher, it goes into just barely a scratch at the very top.
Yeah.
But somebody was cutting it, and then they decided to cut it more between the 1700 at the top.
Yeah, it's interesting cutting the coins in half and everything. I like the ones that are cut or hold.
I was told I was told years ago that they use jewelers' tools or something, or saws or something like that to cut them. But I don't know. That doesn't really sound right, because how many people would have those things? And there was probably, a lot of cutting going on.
Well, yeah, if you have a silver coin and what you're getting is half of that, price-wise, you got to cut it. That's probably why they did it.
I think they were using meat cleavers and
Whatever.
Louis knives and all kinds of stuff, and axes. Well, you can take like a meat cleaver and then stick it on there and then whack it with a hammer,
Yep. Sounds about right.
I've done some that are so sharp, though, that you can almost shave with them.
Wow. Reach your hand in your pocket to pull that out and cut your finger.
I got one that's called a shin splinter, and I guess the late 1600s, early part of 1700s, they used to cut these things in almost like needles, pieces of silver. And when they have them in their pockets or their little purses, they were so sharp they would cut through the cloth.
Right.
And a lot of them they called them shin splinters, because they would hit their shins or cut stick into their shins and stuff. Supposedly. But I found a mint shaped one. It was just had luster mint on it at that colonial site. And it looked like it was from a Thornton Waves coin. It was a thicker one. These are thin coins. They read, they read more. I would say a whole one would read probably like a wheat penny or something.
Right.
But they actually come from Spain, whereas a lot of the other reals came from Mexico and South America, Central America.
Yeah. You always seem to
cool.
find cool stuff.
I thought it was kind of neat that it had that extra cut on it. I've never seen it. I have to look back and see the ones I've got. If any of the other ones have a little cut like that on it. And there's like a little tiny hole on the side on the rim, and I'm wondering if that wasn't holed at one time and it broke through. But it's so close to the edge. I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't know. It just looks like something, pulled through it.
Right.
Because there's a little edge on the side of the hole, and then on the other side there's no edge. So it looks like something was attached to it and got torn up. Maybe it came through because it was cut too close.
Yeah, just you find these things. It seems like quite often you find a lot of halves and stuff. I know you found some quarters too, didn't you?
Well, you mostly find quarters.
They're real tough to locate with a detector too.
You don't find the halves as much as you do the quarters. The term, they had the 8 real, which is the size of a silver dollar. And Thomas Jefferson decided, when they decided to make the U.S. currency, he decided they would keep that same size silver coin, but instead of being 8 pieces, it'd be 10 pieces, or the decimal system, so it'd be easy to count.
Right.
Whereas 8, counting in 8s is really difficult. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But counting in 10s is easy. But anyway, that's kind of it. And if you cut like an 8 real into 4 pieces, each piece was 2 bits or a quarter. So that's how that term came about. But the first thing I ever found was a quarter bit from an 8 real that was in mint shape, and I was in shock. I was sitting there holding that thing, kneeling on the ground just by the hole, just staring at it for about 10 minutes. And this guy came down the hill and he goes, "What the heck is going on? What did you find?" And I go, "You aren't gonna believe this."
Yeah.
And I said, I've I've read all these treasure magazines and stuff, but heard of all these people finding stuff like this, and I thought, man, I'll never find something like that.
Right.
And when I found that, it changed everything. I decided I'd rather find one of these a year than, a handful of silver, 2 double handfuls of silver, regular coins.
Yeah, definitely.
It just made regular coin hunting. I'd still like to do it, but, it's just not a thrill, like finding a treasure coin, what I call a relic coin. I relic hunt to find these type of coins, and I also dig a lot of signals that people would dig, especially on this site. I cleaned this site out. I dug it. There wasn't that many pull tabs. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was not the junkiest site, but there was a lot of square nails in the ground.
Yeah.
But they're going to, they're getting ready. They put a dumpster next to the house, so they're getting ready to knock the house down. So, and then in the spring, they're going to be building this new house, so maybe I can get in there and check the dirt and stuff.
Hey, Craig, does that house, do you think that house has an attic?
Looks like more of a crawl space than an attic.
Yeah, because there might be some goodies up there when they knock that thing down, be there.
They've already been through there with the whole crew, guys.
Oh, okay.
There's, in fact, there was some old Westinghouse appliances in there, washing machine and some other stuff. And so the owner was telling me about it, and he said he told those guys they could have it. They wanted it, and he goes,
Gotta ask Craig first.
Yeah, he goes, I was kind of glad they wanted to take it away, because I didn't want to have to deal with it. But
yeah, I always like these old houses that they're going to demo, but down here in Florida, a lot of times what I've seen in our town anyways is they send entire crews to try to save as much of the lumber and everything else as they can. Because
the trouble with this house is they have termite infection, infestation or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I meant the people that demo these things, they're not dumb, because if you're restoring a historical house or whatever it's considered not hysterical, historical. My gosh, I'm speaking bad. But, they need to fix up their home. They need to use original wood from that era of a house to keep the so-called historical name tag.
I don't know. This house dates to 1910, of course.
Yeah, it's just not old enough anyway. I'm talking about stuff, in the 1800s or whatever.
Plus, I started looking at the house, and I looked, and it has a concrete block foundation.
Really? Okay.
So, so it's not that old. I don't even know if it's 1910 myself. But.
Yeah, I just, I keep on hoping to be able to hit some large scent. I'd be happy with that on this property I'm hunting, only because I know it dates back that far. But I have such an incredible amount of area to detect. It's just like a crapshoot. You just, you're looking at, 400 acres, and it all has, trees on it and stuff like that. Then you're talking about another 1,000 acres after that. It's overwhelming. I'm used to dealing with that because you got to start somewhere. That's the way I've always looked at it. If you get these guys, you get these big sites that, like what Bill Marsh, Craig, where we hunted over there at that old house in Ohio. It took a while for them to get the corn, off of there and everything, and then Bill goes down there and finds a bunch of stuff, but he wouldn't have even known probably about it until the landowner told him. So they have a good rapport together. So, you can pick and choose.
Found that I think it was 1744, King George II.
Right.
I said, man, there's some colonial stuff going on around here somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of looked, down that garden. I thought, that looks like a roadbed to me. And it is. It was. Turned out it went right out in that field.
Yep.
So there was a guy that found a facing a road from that garden just to the left in that field.
Yeah, it's just interesting, the way I work a field kind of different than most people do. A lot of times I'll cut right through the center, and just kind of work my way around. If I get a good target, I start spiraling around out of it, and if I don't find anything, I can continue on. But I always have in my back of my mind where I started and where I stopped, and approximately the direction I was, because you never walk straight line. It seems like you always get off a little bit, especially in wooded areas and stuff, because you're always going around trees and stuff. But just trying to cover as much ground as you can. But I can hunt that. I can hunt this property over here for the next 10 years and not hit every spot. I mean, it's just that big of an area. So what I'm going to do, I think next time I go out there, I'm not going right to the house. I'm just going to, drive, because it's a mile-long driveway, if you want to call it that. So there's a lot of area. The grass is not tall. It's very manageable. And the hogs have come through there so much, they've ripped up the ground around most of the trees and stuff like that. So that makes it easy picking for me. If there's something in the ground right there, I'll find it, because I've rooted up, 6-7 inches of dirt already. So they probably flipped a lot of this stuff up. But we're not talking 10 or 15 hogs. We're talking like 70 or 80 hogs. They've been, trapping them, but Craig, there's just so many. And hogs, I started carrying my gun with me only because some of these boar hogs, you don't piss with those down here or anywhere really. They can get, and the sows are even worse, Craig. They get, especially if they've had piglets. Oh my God, they're downright, they can be downright vicious protecting their young. But my neighbor down the street says, yeah, they tore up my whole yard. 4 doors down from me, and it's like I think he said a 30-foot wide, 30 to 50-foot wide strand that went over 100 acres. And it was just like rototiller right through there. They just walk with their noses down. And that's why people don't, down here, we've built so much and taken away so much of their natural habitat that now they're going wherever they can find food. And can't blame them. We've done this, but, by all the building and everything like that, running the wildlife out of here, or not running it out of here, running it to us, because we're still very rural out here. We're out in the sticks. And, so yeah, but they do root up a lot. I don't really mind that too much, because digging through that heavy turf, that can be a pain in the butt. But if they root it up, man, it's like working up a disc field, you know what I mean? It's just the ground's so loose and everything for them. You're trying to get those grubs and whatever else that are eating. My concern now is, do we need to watch out for bobcats and stuff like that? Which we have those down here, and we have lynx too, don't we, Pauline?
Yeah. We
have lynx, cats. Of course, we have panthers. I'm not going to tell you where I saw one of those, because they want to build a whole prison around that whole thing, and nobody can go in there and this and that. I've always been a believer that cats, bears, stuff like that, they go to where the food supply is, and they're going to find food. They got to survive. But the biggest thing is to make sure you don't leave any food out for your animals, stuff like that. We usually don't talk about this kind of stuff, but you leave food outside for your animals, more than likely you're going to have raccoons and everything else, possums, and we haven't had that problem. Of course, we feed our dogs inside, and fortunately we have more problem with armadillos than anything else, Craig. I got this one armadillo. Oh my God, he's tore up my backyard. I want to get rid of him so fast. And I'm not talking about killing him. I just live trap him and take him and put him on my neighbor's property. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. But dealing with armadillos, if you can live trap them, it's great. Don't be all touchy-feely with them. My daughter was reading about them, and I should have too. They carry a lot of disease. I guess in the center of their backs or something like this. I have to read more on it, but yeah, just because they don't try to bite you or nothing, but I wouldn't be picking them up or anything. Some people eat possum. I've never had it myself. I don't think I ever would, but essentially they're after little bugs and grubs and ants and stuff like that. But they got this, like, they look like prehistoric because they got the shell all around them.
Yeah, and when I was in the city over in Alexandria, we had all kinds of raccoons and possums, but it doesn't seem like we've seen a couple possums. I haven't seen any raccoons, but it's a lot more wild out here where I am. You know,
Yeah.
so there's probably more predators.
Well, it's kind of like the gator in my yard. I mean, I almost stepped on that silly thing. It was dark out, and I was walking out to my shed, and my dog blocked me and pushed me back. I couldn't figure out what the hell he was doing. I thought he was wanting to play or something, and then I looked down there, and I was about 4 foot away from a 3.5 foot long gator, which they're small. I wasn't scared of it or anything like that, but I also know good enough that tail is probably just about as bad as the teeth. Those things can spin around so fast. It's crazy fast. You gotta, get them the right way. Usually I try to find a blanket, throw it over them. That way I can grab them a little safer and, take them, just kind of relocate them out into the pasture where that big pond is or whatever. And they migrate. And, hey, Craig, I saw a bald eagle today in my house circling around. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't see very many.
I used to see him down along the river when I was metal detecting, but never saw him in Alexandria. But too much city, there. But down here, I've had them fly right over the house.
Yeah,
all kinds of hawks, buzzards.
I didn't realize, I don't think, just how big a bald eagle is until I saw one on the side of the road. There was a deer that just got hit, I guess, that morning, and I was driving down, and he was right and the deer was in the middle of the road. And I'm driving. I said, well, that's not a vulture. And I had to stop. It was a bald eagle, and that thing was big, man. I was like, holy cow. But they didn't, he didn't fly off. I just inched forward, and finally he flew off there. But yeah, they're not like a buzzard or a crow. They're not that smart to get the heck out of the way very fast. But they're also, they're a predator, so they're not going to just leave food, leave it.
I remember when I was a kid, there wasn't many bald eagles along the Potomac River. The pollution had ruined them, and they started this big conservation act where they actually put in these pollution plants to, so they didn't put the sewage into the river anymore. Started cleaning up. They actually had crews cleaning up, and when I was a kid, you didn't want to put your little pinky in the thing. You might get all kinds of diseases. It was just filthy. I mean, you could just see trash going down the river, and probably in the mid-1990s, it was so clean. You could swim. There was really good fishing going on.
Yeah.
The hydrilla started growing, filtered the water. They had some of the best bass fishing. I think Woman Creek in Maryland, right on the Potomac, was one of the best bass fishing areas in the country. But it shows you can change it but for hundreds of years they were just throwing everybody through their trash and junk in the river.
Yeah.
In the streams, and that's how they got so polluted.
Yeah, I just go ahead.
It's the eagles came back, and I used to see them all the time when I was relic hunting along the river. It was funny in this one area. Every time I see them, there'd be like 5 or 6 crows going after the eagle, and the eagle would just keep going, spiraling higher and higher, and the crows would keep spiraling after it. Sometimes there'd be red-tipped hawks doing it too, and then the eagle would get tired of them and then just take off like a bullet, just leave behind.
Yeah.
Amazing how fast those things were. But eagles are scavengers. There's these birds that are water hawks. I can't remember what they're called. They don't like these eagles at all. They all like to attack the eagles.
Yeah, we have osprey. We have.
Yeah, that's what they are, osprey.
Yeah, they're pretty big too. Those things are pretty doggone big too. They're not little. Not the ones we have. And we have another one. Well, we call it a kite. It's a more or less what Pauline, a falcon. But maybe more of a falcons and eagles and hawks, and we have. Well, you hear my videos, Craig. You can hear all kinds of stuff in the background because we have a noisy wildlife out here.
Yeah, I remember years ago when President Clinton was in office, they found this eagle and it had a broken wing, and they rehabilitated it, and so they had this big party, and they took it down to near Great Falls up on this big cliff, this big ceremony and everything, and Clinton lets the eagle go. They named it Freedom, and it goes flying out, and it wasn't out there 100 yards before Osprey came out of nowhere and just mashed into it, knocked it in the water, and they all freaked out. Called the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard came flying up, got the bird in the net, took it back to rehab. So it turned out that there was two big nesting areas for the osprey right where they let this eagle go. So it's stupid. You got to do it right, I guess. I don't know. I mean, you can't just. I guess you got to figure out where to, let the things go so they don't get in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. I figure we'll probably wrap it up tonight. But sorry, guys. Again, it would run an hour show, but we have 2 coffee cans and a string going from here to Virginia.
Hey, I rigged it up quite nice.
My wife did fantastic job getting this rigged up at the last second.
Yeah.
I will have this stupid thing. I don't know what. It's my fault. I downloaded the new operating system or whatever it is, and I didn't even think twice about how it would affect my, the show tonight. So of course I just turn everything on about 10 till, and Craig calls, and we have a chance to talk a little bit, and then we do the show, and well, that didn't happen today. So you got spur of the moment, improv, whatever you want to call it.
Had to listen to the wife.
Yeah, to listen to my wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's doing better, guys. I got her home from the hospital on Saturday, and she has to do the dialysis 3 times a week and stuff. Try to deal with that and all the new diet stuff and all the just the funnest stuff in the whole wide world that you'd want to know about kidneys. So, but I told her I'm going to keep her around for a little while, even though she's trying to fight me on that with all the stints and everything, but she's back home and feeling herself a little bit more. So I was glad she got this thing figured out anyway. So, but yeah, Craig, we'll talk on Saturday night. I will have this stupid thing, or I will have a smashed computer in my front yard, because right now I'm very, very aggravated with what happened with it, but that's more my fault than anything. But guys, thanks for listening. We'll be on Saturday night at 8 p.m. So get out there, keep digging, and God bless. Greg, you there? Not a second. We're still trying to shut it down, I think.